Peaky Blinders Tommy Shelby is an intelligent crime boss and politician. Part of his appeal comes from his ability to say the smartest things. In Peaky Blinders, Shelby family patriarch Tommy Shelby has everything that makes a perfect antihero. He finds it easy to kill, a trait that can be traced back to his time as Sergeant Major in World War I, and has better strategies than all of the competition. Most importantly, he speaks confidently and convincingly too. Tommy has a penchant for infusing creativity into his sentences. This has made him come up with some of the best remarks in the highly rated BBC drama. Whether he's talking to a family member, a high-ranking government official, or a foe, a dialogue scene involving the Birmingham crime boss is never bland. "I don't pay for suits. My suits are on the house or the house burns down." As Grace and Tommy prepare to go to the races together for the first time, she laments about not finding an appropriate dress to wear. She then asks him if he has paid for the suit he'll be wearing. Well, he doesn't pay. Being the boss of the most feared criminal organization in Birmingham has its perks. The fashion-savvy Tommy Shelby expects tailors to hand him the best suits, or else they'll be made to go out of business. It's for their own good, and his too, because he gets to satisfy his fashion appetites without spending a dime. This move matches old mob practices where small businesses are expected to remit part of their revenue to the reigning criminal organization. Conviction introduces emotion, which is the enemy of oratory. Winston Churchill, one of the few real-life characters in Peaky Blinders, requests a meeting with Tommy where he compliments him for giving a beautiful speech in the House of Representatives. The then Home Secretary wonders whether Tommy believes his own words. Tommy doesn't. According to him, being emotionally attached to an issue makes it harder to talk about it. In this scene, Tommy and Churchill realize they have much more in common than they thought. They both understand the importance of saying what needs to be said to achieve a specific goal. Churchill also points out that Tommy's quote is borrowed from Greek literature. This revelation paints Tommy as not just a gangster, but a scholar too. If you make the wrong choice, you won't see 1144. Tommy once interrogates an associate of the Economic League, ACA, Section D, in prison, but the man refuses to talk. Tommy thus takes out his clock. It's approaching 11:43. He gives the man seconds to decide who he is more afraid of, the Blinders or Section D. The Blinders boss has a strong belief in his own abilities, hence he thinks of himself as far more capable than all his enemies. In truth, the far-right organization has proven to be way more dangerous than the Blinders, as it has some of the most sadistic and evilous people on the show. Nevertheless, the manner in which Tommy packages the words in his threats always does the trick. Good taste is for people who can't afford sapphires. Tommy goes on to make a beautiful necklace for Grace when he receives sapphires from Russians as payment. Since they are going to a charity event, she is concerned that it wouldn't be in good taste for her to wear sapphires. Tommy doesn't agree. The Birmingham crime lord has never been focused on pleasing others. His concern has only been to what makes him happy. Grace is right to be concerned about showing off in an event that's meant to help the less fortunate, but Tommy also rightfully believes that the rich ought to not have to be apologetic about their wealth. It's a matter of perspective. When fortune drops something valuable into your lap, you don't just dump it on the bank of the cut. Among the many important things that happen in the Peaky Blinders pilot is the Birmingham gang grabbing the wrong crate of weapons during a routine pickup. It turns out it's a cache of government artillery headed for Libya. Tommy is urged to return it, but he refuses. Trouble comes in the form of Inspector Campbell, who is sent to retrieve the weapons. However, Tommy's decision to hold on to the weapons proves to be the right move later on. If he'd given back the weapons, he'd never have achieved certain things in his life, including marrying Grace and being a close associate to Winston Churchill, I'm just an extreme example of what a working man can achieve. Niall Delvin gets paranoid when mines and factories shut down because of the Shelby Company's activities. He tells Tommy that they might get shot for being traitors to their class. However, Tommy doesn't believe he is a traitor to his class. He only sees himself as a hardworking man. Crime shows and movies have always reminded viewers that established criminals see no problems with their actions. They consider their trade to be as important as any other job. Tommy shares the same opinion. He is also right about himself being a hardworking man since he rose from a frontline soldier in the trenches to one of the biggest crime lords in Britain. I think, Arthur, that's what I do. I think, so that you don't have to. Arthur once calls out Tommy for thinking that he can take on Billy Kimber by himself. Tommy puts him in his place, instructing him to leave thinking to him since he's what he's good at it. Tommy is aware that Arthur is more of a bronze and brains kind of person. He knows his brother isn't the best decision maker, and that's why he brushes off his concerns very quickly. Tommy's conclusions about Arthur are quickly proven when Arthur's carelessness makes him the first member of the Peaky Blinder to be arrested by Inspector Campbell. It's not a good idea to look at Tommy Shelby the wrong way. After discovering that Grace never worked in Dublin, as she claimed, Tommy begins suspecting her. To spook her, he tells her a story of how he shot his horse for looking at him the wrong way. The Blinders boss has always been a dangerous man, but he is aware that some people might not be aware of how ruthless he can be. It's his duty to remind them. The subtle threat somehow works because Grace, who is an undercover agent, becomes more cautious and less aggressive while pursuing Tommy. This way, she takes too long to get the information required. Time breeds affection as she finds herself falling in love with him. I have made arrangements with men I trust. If I should die, then you will die. Know that. The deal between Tommy and the Crown includes plenty of favors. One of those involves Tommy assassinating Field Marshal Henry Russell. Tommy doesn't trust Major Campbell, so before he sets off for the mission, he assures him that if something were to happen to him, the retaliation will be swift. Tommy's poise is evident once again in this scene. He knows the risk of his mission, but that doesn't get him worried. His eyes are on the benefits. Having been a good boss all along, he trusts his people to revenge his death if were to happen. Tommy also proves once again how he has mastered the art of making subtle threats. You don't parley when you're on the back foot. Birmingham boys head Kimber is angry when he first hears that Tommy is fixing the races. Tommy makes the gangster warm up to him by offering help in fighting the Lee family. Tommy later explains his strategy, saying he had to negotiate with Kimber from a strong position, or else he'd have been humiliated. Negotiating from a strong position is a strategy that Tommy employs time and time again in the series. He always has some form of leverage, and this not only keeps him alive, but also helps him achieve a lot in life. He uses it while dealing with Winston Churchill, and also with all his major enemies.